all the posts say the matchups will be determined at a later date. When is the later date?
Linear time was a mistake.
Mm-hmm. The games start this week.
Welcome, everyone, to the Sickos Committee podcast. This is our podcast for the evening of March 17th, 2024. We are now in March, but fully because Selection Sunday was today. I think I tweeted out my best joke of all time this morning when I said it's Selection Sunday, and along with an image of me shopping for avocados on like the HEB app. Thought it was good. Knocked out of the park. Bam. So, folks, as always, I'm Jordan. With me tonight, I have Commish, Andrew, Pitt Girl, Beth, and Arthur on the ones and twos. Commish, how are you, sir?
Oh, wow. You're starting with me. Okay, cool.
I usually end on you. I know. Sorry.
Yeah, I know. It's just changing it up a little bit. I got to be on my toes. This is March. Even though I'm a high seed, I gotta be ready. I gotta be ready.
You're like a solid 14 seed, I feel.
Really? That's it? Just a 14? My God.
I'm a play-in 16, so, I'm not
even like a... I mean, you got to give the commish, like, maybe like a 12 seed that can sneak into the Sweet 16 at least, I would think, right?
I'm thinking
no?
Like,
okay.
Like blown out in the first round by a blue blood.
Okay, you're blown out in the first round by a blue blood. I kind of feel like I am that... that big conference 10 seed that just really disappoints in the first round.
Gotcha.
So I'm declining a bid to the NIT.
So. Oh, that's what
aren't we all?
Hold me back. We'll get to that later. I got feelings.
Definitely. We got feelings. We do. But no, it's been pretty good. I just finished the spring break week, so school resumes tomorrow. Had my mom in town for the entirety of last week. Did a tremendous amount of stuff. Had strep throat. My kid got a double ear infection. I'm still drinking tea. Whatever. I need to be able to speak appropriately. Also, I thought I hurt my neck with the strep throat, but apparently I've been sleeping wrong. So now I have like a neck injury, strep throat. I am that incredibly disappointing 10 seed that somehow makes the tournament, or like that 9 seed that you have no idea how they made the tournament and just like goes out in a flame in the first round and just upsets everybody. That's me right now. It's great.
I'm impressed you managed to hold back talking about your maladies. I was sure you were going to go into my neck, my back at some point. All the things that hurt. Oh, it's my neck. I was just waiting for it to go.
My back's been pretty good. My neck, I'm getting sleep, but I'm doing it wrong. I love it. Love old age.
Beth, how are you?
I'm on the CBI bubble. That's how I am right now.
Oh God, we're gonna get you. Oh no. What was that one-time tournament we loved so much a couple years ago? It's called like the basketball tournament.
The Basketball Classic.
There we go. Yeah. The classic.
Basketball Classic.
Basketball tournament is the like alumni tournament, which is fun and people should watch it.
That is fun.
The Basketball Classic was not good. At one point, I can't remember who it was, but they didn't even have appropriate medical staff for these games because somebody was being wheeled off on like one of those Home Depot things that you get when you go to the garden section, and you got a lot of soil. A flatbed. That's what it looked like, and it was kind of depressing.
It's just a brutalist chaise lounge.
It's on sale.
Oh, brutalist chaise lounge. That's thank you.
Thinking about how to incorporate that into my home decor.
Right?
I mean, I think you can just take one from Home Depot.
And put some cushions on it, like my couch.
No cushions. Just a blanket that says "Go Pitt" and is your art installation for the Pitt football team.
Oh, congratulations to Pittsburgh's one true team for making the tournament today.
Hey, go
Duquesne!
Who the fuck thought Duquesne? Okay, yes.
I mean, hey, Duquesne not scared to play the city game.
There you go.
I
Knock
will
out.
save that rant for later.
Oh boy.
Pitt Girl,
Oh,
how are
boy.
you?
I'm good. I have a very central Pennsylvania update. Beth, you are going to know exactly what I'm talking about when I say this. But for the rest of you, are you familiar with the concept of a fire hall event?
No clue.
You mean like my graduation party and several of the weddings I have been in a part
Oh,
of?
so this
yes,
is like
precisely.
at a VFW hall kind of thing.
This is at a fire
It's a
hall.
fire
Okay, I get
hall.
that,
The
but same
local
idea.
fire company.
Same idea about kind of events you would have.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So it was a family friend's 60th birthday. Said family friend is actually a leapling, and so it is a really big deal when it is her birthday. Her birthday party was delayed, and it was yesterday, and it was a fire hall event. So I had the distinct pleasure of getting toasty in a fire hall. 10 out of 10. Recommend. For those of you who are not Central Pennsylvania, you're missing out on the delights of being in a very large 70s wood paneled room. And
They're not
drinking beer out of the
WPA
cooler.
buildings. Like it's not like 1930s architecture.
No, not usually.
No. This particular fire hall is brick, and the inside of the event space in the fire hall is like linoleum floor, 70s wood paneling. It's very
the
church
best-
basement.
The
But
best
not.
is I just looked up fire hall wedding on Google, and the first thing that comes up is fire hall receptions. Are they really that bad? Question mark.
Oh, they're great. Cost effective also, and obnoxiously Pit Boyfriend did just sneak in like a cryptid to point out that I have neglected to mention the enormous neon bingo boards in
Oh,
Of course,
yes.
yeah.
opposing corners
Yes.
of the room. Yes.
Yeah, fire halls are wonderful, and they're where everything is held, from like Lenten fish fries to like there is an event at our local fire halls every weekend that is open to the public, as well as several private events.
Commish, what was your equivalent of that in New Orleans? Like that place everyone had those kinds of things.
I mean, like everywhere. But
Street.
Like, okay, sorry, I forgot. You're from New Orleans, where parties don't have to have a building.
I was like,
It could
Or
be.
you have your
It could also
shade,
be
and then you go
outdoors.
away.
there's like a festival every freaking weekend, man. It's like, look. I'm gonna tell you this about New Orleans. If you got $300 and you go to the NOPD, which is the New Orleans Police Department, the French Quarter precinct, you can get a permit for a parade, and you
So
just
you're
parade
telling
in the
me that-
French Quarter. Yes.
So you're telling me we could have a parade, and it would only
Essentially,
cost
yes.
us $300 in travel costs?
Basically, you just show up to New Orleans, go there. It may be a little bit different price now, but this was a few years ago. But you could show there, and they will plan your route for you to walk around, and you could have it could be like a little walking parade. So yes, if you wanted to do something like that, you could do that at any time in New Orleans.
This sounds like a
Okay.
reasonable business expense for us, Commish.
I mean,
I can
honestly,
do.
I mean, when ULM makes the New Orleans Bowl, we will have a ULM parade.
1,000%.
I'm
Yeah,
there.
done.
I'm there.
There.
Let's go.
Beth and Jordan can lead our tiny little like kazoo marching band.
Oh yeah, it would be great.
Oh, we're
we'll
gonna have a
throws and
second
everything.
line. Okay.
Seriously, we could have like the street performers. You just tip them, and they will join in.
Mhm.
Done.
Oh, yeah.
And Beth will bring her handy
It has
kazoo.
kazoos already ready.
I just want to see Jordan on stilts.
Oh god, fucking hell! Just
I was
over.
not
Wham!
kidding. I
Wham!
always have a kazoo, a recorder, and a jaw harp sitting at my recording station.
Very important.
Well,
I mean,
better
yeah.
squeeze them in your carry-on bag.
that stop and frisk at the airport could be real rough.
Oh no.
Andrew, how are you, sir? You had your day. Today's the day. L'chaim.
Today's the big day.
Today's a bracket.
The CBI tournament has been released.
Yes, the real one.
It's 15 teams.
Just
It's
tell me the
15
one seed. Who's the one seed?
Wait,
High Point
they
is the
couldn't
one
come up with
seed.
16 this year?
No, so High Point has a bye.
Oh my god.
Nice. Love it.
The sweetest 15.
Oh, it's so great. But no, it's a big day, of course. The women's tournament and the men's tournament both released. The NIT is out. The final for the NIT is at Hinkle Fieldhouse in lovely Indianapolis. So we're having a great day. We have a lot to discuss, as I'm sure everybody can imagine.
Well, let's get into stuff right away. First off, the athletic director carousel spins once again because Trev Alberts, who is a Nebraska man and is Nebraska's AD, said nope, and now he's going to Texas A&M.
So he does in fact have that dog in him.
he apparently does have that dog in him. Several of the dogs, in fact.
This has caused a lot of Nebraska emotion on the timeline. They are distraught. They are. They feel betrayed. They want to take down like his statues and stuff, like his plaques.
Oh,
and stuff on the
we're ripping
stadium.
things off the wall now. Okay.
Oh boy.
They want to do this because they can't understand why he would leave essentially out of nowhere to go to A&M, which, I mean, A&M's AD kind of started this AD carousel after he got hired by Ohio State. So Ross Bjork went to Ohio State, and so this is like the AD path. We have no idea what's going to happen here in Nebraska. Apparently, it's just something, shout out to Amy Just, this is something that is kind of been brewing underneath the surface in Nebraska. Like, their president of like the athletics and everything like that, of the athletic department, was like, his last day was August 23rd of 2020.
They're without anyone at this point.
They have no leadership. And
That's
so like the
awful.
board of directors are, you know, like kind of scrambling. We don't know who's going to take. They don't have a president now. They don't have an AD. They have an associate AD. That's what's going on. The piece by Amy Just was fascinating. And if you wanted to get behind the scenes in Nebraska, and what Trev, as you called him, Trev Alberta, which he is
When I posted this morning, yeah.
He is the GM of the Edmonton Elks in my head. That's Trev Alberta.
Mhm.
But yes, really, apparently there's just like a void of leadership at the top, and they have not made a decision. Like, they went an entire football season without a president, and now we're in March, and they're still without leadership there. So I don't necessarily know what's going on, and I want to be sensitive to the Nebraska fans, because this is kind of, you really don't pay attention to like this stuff. Like you want you guess your head coach of basketball, football, everybody's fine. Like the leadership style stuff that's determined by like the board of regents and, you know, all those board of directors or whatever you want to call it. You don't really pay attention to this too much, and you kind of feel like when Mr. Alberts said that leadership is now more important than ever in his comments when he went to Texas A&M. I don't know if that's a veiled shot or
It feels
direct
passive aggressive.
shot. I don't know, but Trev was gonna have to embark on a $500 million fundraising thing to get the Memorial Stadium upgraded, and without, I guess, like alignment or anybody in leadership there, he was like, "Okay, I'm going to A&M."
I mean,
but was he?
I don't know.
A better use of
Was
time.
he expecting to find stability at Texas A&M? Like,
enough money
He
to
was
buy
expecting to find dollar bills, y'all.
Dollar bills,
Yeah,
y'all.
the amount
Sure.
of money you can have that is useful and how stupid you are really go like hand in hand. Like, if you have lots of money, you're allowed to be real stupid. And it's only if you don't have that money to spend, you actually have to be smart about things.
I bought my elephant a comfort peacock.
Right. Tracy Jordan, 30 Rock. That's what you need to look at there. Like, that is like my go-to. Okay, so we have that. So can we talk about some Jon Gruden coaching rumors, some groomers?
Oh God, no,
Oh,
not
no.
again.
Yeah. Hey, Jon Gruden is going to Europe. You're all safe.
Okay.
He will
Okay.
be an advisor to the Milano Seamen.
Ooh, a new export.
Mm-hmm. We have exported some more coaches. Norm Chow, of course, is still in Switzerland.
Jon Gruden Seamen export. Got it.
I do think that Norm Chow being in Switzerland has to be some sort of issue with banking and taxes. And he's hiding out there at this point.
Somebody made a comment
Definitely.
about Jim Tomasula again,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
and I was like, that's defending champion coach Jim Tomasula.
From several, like he won
the best graphic of all time when they showed that they just want to know. Does everybody know about that?
Yes.
Yes.
It's so good.
The coach that I like the most though in the ELF, I have to say, is the Berlin. They call him the Berlin Thunder, I believe. The Berlin Thunder is coached by a man by the name of Johnny Schmuck.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Hey, come on.
This is wonderful.
No, but he's a German ass German. Like he came up playing American football in Germany and is the only German coach. No, sorry.
Nah, he's in the witness protection program. Come on.
Johnny Schmuck. They got him a new passport and he's still the most Jersey dude alive. Just in
That's
Berlin.
my cousin from down the street from Plainview. Come on.
I did find a picture of him where it looks like he's going, "Hey!"
There we go. That's all you need. But anyways, yeah, so groomers exist. But groomers, I mean, not rumors, but actual things that happened. He's there.
Yeah, he's definitely in the witness protection program. Sorry, Johnny, we blew your cover.
Whoa! I gotta go back to the FBI now.
Whoa, I'm having a doner kebab over here.
Oh, who wants a Hefeweizen over here?
Who wants a
Jordan, your attempt at a New Jersey accent is never
bad.
not
Is
funny.
it bad?
You're too happy,
Why is it
Jordan. You have to
over
be upset. You have to be upset to sound like you're from New Jersey.
You don't have that like northeastern rage inside you.
No, it's too happy-go-lucky.
Yeah.
Just
Ma,
pretend you watch
it's
the
the
Yankees
marzipan.
lose.
See, Beth gets it.
Just pretend you watch the Yankees lose 9-4 or something. Whoa, come on.
Whoa!
Whoa!
No, you're still too happy. I'm still happy.
I can't get angry enough. Oh, okay.
Oh, come on, Ma. Pass the
Jordan,
Capicola
pretend
with
you're
the
the-
sauerkraut over here.
You gotta pretend you're these people. Come on.
You gotta pretend.
I do want to talk about some.
Ma, it's like the Weimar Republic out here.
Look at these guys over here in freaking Lederhosen.
Oh, worst fucking witsuck ever. Okay. Ooh, breathe now. Other things.
What the fuck is Farfignugan?
One in the 3-4 defense over here.
No, it's a dry fear defense. Is it good?
Listener, Beth is face palming.
Oh yeah, that's lost Beth. You okay there?
No.
No, okay, good.
Are any of us ever okay on this podcast?
No, it's fine. Colin
Good
Deaver,
luck with this.
our good friend from New Mexico and Arizona, not Arizona, El Paso, that part of the world, got to go to the CUSA basketball tournament and got to hug Big Red. Like, they had a little moment, and Colin looked as happy as I've ever seen him.
This
On
photo
any
looks like
TV.
the
Life
end of
goals.
Homeward Bound.
Yes.
I thought Big Red would be taller.
No.
Is Colin just really tall?
No.
Colin
this
is really tall. Yeah.
But- but this Big Red is still not like 6 foot.
So like there
Colin
was
is really tall.
so when I went to New Mexico to go see New Mexico State and FIU, Colin was there and he was basically doing double duty, and he was his own cameraman along with being the reporter there. He came into the press box and he said hi, and I'm like, hi, how you doing? And then he didn't realize until after we're gone, it's like, oh my god, that was the commish of the committee, which we didn't directly meet, but we were in the same room at the time, and we both followed each other. It was ridiculous. So I've actually tried to message him right now to see if I can sneak him on the podcast, and I'm asking him if he's driving because he's supposedly on the way back from this crazy journey to meet Big Red.
We'll see if it happens.
So if he shows up at some point, we're gonna see if he can pop in.
We'll patch him in.
We'll patch him in for
Absolutely.
like 5 minutes or something just to get his Big Red takes. And
Where was the CUSA
Mostly, I
tournament?
want to know. We'll see if he comes on. If we do, I have an important question. So,
I think it
My
was
questions
in,
are all related to how tall are you? How tall is Big Red? Are you actually like 7 feet tall? Because that is what I'm imagining from this picture.
I think it was in Memphis this year.
I think it was in Huntsville.
Huntsville.
Huntsville, Alabama? Okay.
Yes, because UAB used to have like close-ish.
Oh yeah, UAB is close to Huntsville.
So yeah, like this was that is a long ass drive, but to get to hug Big Red, I think is totally worth it.
Worth it.
Oh, also, not only, of course, we already knew that Pretty Pete had hair, but I didn't realize he had quite like that kind of hair. There's a picture in the show notes of Purdue Pete with his hat off, giving sort of like bedroom eyes.
I mean, it's
dead
helmet
eyes.
hair.
It is. It's incredible.
He has incredible helmet hair, which makes sense given that the helmet is grafted to his head most of the time.
Why does this image look like a selfie filter on Snapchat?
I don't know. It does. It was a straight up screenshot.
Purdue Pete has a selfie stick.
It is.
Purdue Pete looks like the selfie stick.
He looks like sexy Squidward from that episode.
Yeah, he looks like buffed
Feeling
out.
cute. Might skin a cheerleader later.
Oh yeah. And of course, the great shot at the back, because before a second ago, like the cheerleaders were happy and smiling, but I got the one screenshot where they look confused and ready to run.
An appropriate reaction.
It is the eyes.
Why are his eyes so black and soulless?
So you can't see the person behind him.
See, in this picture, they look more black and soulless than usual, which is hard to do.
You remember what happened to them last year, right?
Yes.
Yes. That's fair. That's a reason why Purdue Pete's eyes might be black and soulless.
That does make sense.
They lost that last little glimmer, and now it's just waiting to one day come back.
Worked for Virginia when they lost to the 16 seed.
I mean,
the void is looking back.
Shout out UMBC.
Ayo, we love the Retrievers. I
was looking up something last night. I had never seen this old Big West logo. I'll drop it in the chat, but also if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see it. From 1995 to 2005, the Big West Conference had a logo best described as starting a Nickelodeon cartoon.
Mm-hmm. A specific
Jordan,
Nickelodeon cartoon.
I thought you were offering me the logo for $19.95.
No, I wish so.
Two easy payments of $10.95.
Does that include shipping and handling?
Oh, no.
We're the only place that still does COD.
But so if you look above it, I made our own version of this. It's the Sickos Committee, but I use a slightly different font. And I want you to like, what's your visceral reaction to seeing it like that? What memory do you have that tied to? Or what does that make you feel like?
It looks like My Three Sons to me.
Okay. Legitimate.
Am I misremembering, or is the text for like Rocco's Modern Life?
Oh no, it's
pretty close.
It's close to that. It feels like a Nickelodeon show. I would just say that. Like the Big West was sponsored by Nickelodeon in the 90s.
See, the one that I made because I use a slightly different font, to me feels like a band at Warped Tour that you've never heard of, and neither of your friends either. Like it looks like it should be a ska band logo.
Yeah. This is one of those Warped Tour bands when you're where they're good, but they're like not quite a genre fit for the rest of the tour, and it's like, okay, but like, why are you here?
There's also something extremely early Homestar Runner about it.
It does. Yeah. It has that feeling too. I don't know what I did. I really like it. I'm going to make some merch with this on it. Someone said we should do a band tour t-shirt.
This needs to be on a lunchbox.
Right.
This is a lunchbox ass logo.
I was thinking that or a patch. It's pinned on someone's backpack as like a vinyl patch somewhere.
You said patch, and in my head, I was imagining it as like the top rider on somebody's motorcycle vest, and now that's all I can think about.
I will say our good friend Chelsea Poe, who follows us, said IDKY, but it's giving 2004 transgender support forum vibes, rock your gender or something. Okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Oh, that's very fair.
It's imagining rock your gender, like rock the vote, and like John Mellencamp is up here being like, trans rights, kids.
Oh, fuck. Okay, yes.
No, I was born in a small town. But
I live in a small town.
I really like this logo that I made. I'm going to put it on something because it does feel like it needs to be on like a lunchbox or like.
Can we do those like tin like camping mugs?
Oh yeah, that would feel good too. Okay, let me play around with this.
I mean, you could also put it on a lunchbox and then put it on the thermos inside of the lunchbox, and we could go full 1994.
Oh, I mean, yes. We're gonna go full on Kiss. We're just gonna put our name on everything. We'll sell literally everything.
Arthur, get ready to like cut here.
Look at the chat.
Colin should be coming up pretty soon.
Cool.
I just got him.
Nice.
See if he'll hop in.
What's up, everybody?
What's up?
Hi.
Hey, sorry, I don't have
Hello.
I don't have a microphone or anything. I'm sorry. No. Does it sound bad? I can put.
No,
it's
fine. It's better than what we usually get.
Awesome.
Okay, are we all going?
This is so cool.
There you go.
First of all,
How do you pronounce your last name so I can get it right?
it's Deaver.
Deaver. Okay, I got it right there. Okay, cool.
Yeah, like Beaver with a D. First of all, my buddy that I'm staying with is a huge fan, and he's very excited that you guys asked me to do this. So you're
Awesome.
you're making my night, and you're making his night. So
It's amazing. It's perfect.
yeah.
Well, folks, we have a special guest with us who just jumped in. Colin Deaver, who's just on his way back from Huntsville. Was that in Huntsville?
Alabama, yeah.
There we go. Colin, tell our listeners who you are and what you do.
So I am the sports director at KTSM TV in El Paso, Texas. We cover UTEP and New Mexico State. I've been there for about 6 years, and for the first time in 13 years, UTEP yesterday played in the Conference USA Championship game for a spot in the NCAA tournament. We didn't think, I'll be honest, we didn't think they were going to do it. So we didn't book any flights or anything to go out there for the tournament until they were in the championship game on Friday morning, or they punched a ticket on Friday afternoon. I hopped in the car and drove 18 and a half hours to be there. And it was a whole journey. I'm exhausted. I'm halfway back to El Paso tonight. I got 9 hours left. I'm exhausted, but it's awesome. I mean, what a life experience. And it's such a cool job, an opportunity. So
I can't imagine. I don't think anyone else was expecting UTEP to make it that far either. That just seemed like it wasn't going to happen. And lo and behold.
Yeah, I mean, it's March, right? I mean, we should have it's one of those things where if you buy the tickets and you go, it probably doesn't happen.
Exactly.
And your bosses maybe feel like it's a waste of money, but then it happens and everyone's like, why aren't you there? You need to be there. So such a interesting situation to be in. So
how many hours is it from Huntsville, from El Paso?
I think it's 18 and a half.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. And 9 of them, it's funny because 9 of them, or actually more than that, from El Paso, because you go through El Paso to Dallas and then up I-30 through Texas.
Okay, that way, yeah.
Yeah, so and that's probably I think that's 12 hours just across Texas.
Just Texas.
Oh yeah, no, it's horrendous.
Just Texas.
Yeah,
I remember.
So we drove 9.5 hours today, and it was across 5 states, and I'm gonna drive 9 tomorrow, and it's just gonna all be across Texas.
Yes.
So
I made that drive from San Antonio to Las Cruces when I went out there to go see the Aggies play FIU a couple years ago. But yeah, there's nothing out there. So I don't know if was it 20 that comes down is a little bit more scenic. But
so you came from San Antonio. So you came from San Antonio. You just took I-10 all the way, and that's actually the prettier part of the drive.
Oh God!
I actually really. That part on I-10 from Ozona to Van Horn, I actually think is really pretty. And I might be in the minority on that, but I think it's really pretty. But the stretch of I-20 from Pecos through Odessa Midland.
Oh, that's just God.
It's awful. I'm sorry. The P-base is just Permian Basin. For those who don't know, the P-base is just barren and disgusting and smells like gas and oil. So
yeah, a lot of stuff there.
So you had a very emotional moment with Big Red. Tell us about your emotional moment with Big Red.
We have a lot of questions about you meeting Big Red, along with your height and Big Red's height.
Yeah, how tall is Big Red and how tall are you? Because I have always imagined Big Red is very large, and then you are like hugging Big Red, and you are taller than Big Red.
You are
so are you 9 feet tall?
It looks like you're comforting a toddler.
So I'm 6'5". So I'm not short or anything like that, but I had the same reaction. I was like, this is a very small mascot. It's is there a child in here? What is going on? And the buddy that I'm staying with in Dallas, he actually rode out there with me the 9.5 hours to go to Huntsville, and he went to the game last night. He's from Wisconsin, and I guess Western Kentucky played Wisconsin once, and that the version of Big Red that was the mascot at that time was actually big.
Okay.
I don't know if he was he or she was 6'5" or I don't know, but he said that mascot was exponentially bigger than the one that I was hugging last night. But has
Big Red been struck with shrinkflation or
I know
something at this
nothing.
point? We
Maybe.
don't know.
No. They're in Huntsville. This is the Travel Big Red.
Travel Big Red.
Oh, yes.
False,
Uh-huh.
no, it's false advertising.
False advertising.
No.
Fits into most overhead compartments.
You know what? If you want to bring real big
Can you
red,
imagine?
you've got to get armed guards. You've got to bring down a whole semi truck with armor. You can take Travel Big Red way more easily.
Does the arm count as a personal item?
Yeah. I'm just imagining TSA going in Big Red's mouth, like in the mascot.
And pulling stuff out of it like it's Mary Poppins' handbag.
Nice.
Yeah.
But only after 2 or 3 people have gone in, like ankle grabbing each other's ankle. Like it has to be like silk scarves coming out of his mouth.
I have a mental image of Big Red traveling exclusively by Pope-mobile for security, but also so that way you can see him.
Oh, that's funny.
Colin, it was a magical moment, and to see you two hug, that was like, the first reaction was, "Oh my God, how tall is Colin?" Because that was
I was like genuinely excited too, because like you see that mascot obviously all over the place, and I think it's you guys have. I think no context college football has. Like it always gets memed.
yeah, of course.
And to like see it was just like, oh my God, there it is. And then it was actually messing with me first. Like when I was going live, like it was like it was just messing with me, trying to mess me up. And I said, no, come here. Like let's do this. Like if you want to do this, like come on camera. Yeah. And so it did. And then so the part that I put on Twitter was just like before I went live, and like we were just like messing around. But then I actually I should post this too. I actually put it on like television in El Paso, like as like a tag out for one of my live shots, and I like pretended to interview it, and I was like, he thinks he's gonna win, but I don't think so, and he ended up being right, of course. But it was what it was, but very soft, as all mascots are, very soft. Maybe the softest mascot I've ever.
You have buff boys and mustache men out in El Paso. It's hard to softness is not really something y'all do.
No, it's not, and one of them is a real person, so it's
That's true. Yeah.
You can't just walk up and hug Pistol. I mean, I guess you could, but it's a little strange.
Be careful, he's got guns.
I'd be afraid of Pistol Pete's like PTSD and like the gun getting drawn in the wrong direction.
Yeah,
whoa, Pete, whoa! Just hugging you from behind.
What does Big Red smell like?
I didn't catch a great whiff, mostly because most mascots don't smell great.
Yes, true.
So I didn't catch it. I like kind of purposely didn't take a sniff, but let me back up. My girlfriend works at a PBS station, and for some of their events, I have actually dressed up as Clifford.
Okay.
And so it's like a version of Big Red, I guess. But those costumes are so awful and stinky, and like you take it off and you're just drenched in sweat. It's not something you can do for more than 40 minutes at a time.
Not at all.
So props to those people who are in the mascot suits, because they're in shape. They're in shape, and they deserve a lot of credit. So.
It does seem like it's harrowing in there.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. You can't see anything. You can't it's like that mouth is so big. I don't know how they see anything. So.
So good. I wanted to give a shout out to Rachel Phillips. I think she's with the affiliate in Memphis. She was just like, hey, she kept messaging us on Twitter, and Instagram was like, you got to speak with Colin about this. And I was like, okay, we record late the podcast. So like, if he's not driving and he's stopping, let's hope, that he's there. We'll get him on the podcast to talk about his ridiculous travels and wish him well throughout the worst part of the drive tomorrow, unfortunately.
Yeah, Dallas. We're in Dallas tonight, or I'm in Dallas tonight, and then today was nice because Rachel actually it's wild to say this. Memphis was like on the way, so we just drove through Memphis,
for sure.
And Rachel used to be in El Paso, so Memphis was on the way. She just moved to Memphis for a new job last week. So we drove up and hey, literally hop in the car. We don't have time for you to dilly dally. Hop in the car right now, and we're going.
We're going to the CFC.
So she was that's how it all came about. And then so tomorrow.
Did you pick her up at the pyramid?
Drove by the pyramid, and I can't believe they let that thing go become what it is now. I won't even say what it is. That's the greatest basketball arena of all time, and we just let it go by the wayside and become that.
become a place of worship for several fishermen and hunters. I assure
We
you.
still got the one out in Long Beach.
That is true.
True,
It's okay.
true.
Yeah, we do.
Shout out Dan
Shout out
Monson.
Walter Perryman.
We're
Well,
firing you, so you go.
We're
Hell
definitely
yeah.
gonna be talking about Long Beach a little bit later in the
Oh,
podcast, so we're there. But thank you, Colin. We're gonna let you get some sleep and rest.
Sure.
And thank you for your friend to joining us. The podcast will be out on Tuesday morning, and you'll be able to listen to it hopefully in your own bed in El Paso because you're laid up, relaxing
We
after
look
this.
forward to the next mascot that you hug.
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah. I'll ask. Like, is there a mascot that you would like me to go hug next?
I mean, that's...
Oh
Oh wow!
God, this is a lot of questions. This you
Don't
can't
hug
put us on the
Purdue
spot.
Pete. We would be
Very
very
well.
worried about your safety.
Yeah.
There's
Oh.
there's the Buff Bear at U.S. Coast Guard Academy. The one without pants, but he
Obji.
Obji the bear.
Yeah.
He's got
Yeah,
a very
Obji.
clear six pack.
Mm.
Yeah.
Honestly, most of them are bear mascots. Like hugging Oski would be
amazing
very
how
high
many
on our list.
They're mascots
Yeah.
we have options for.
I've been close to Oski. He creeps me out though. But for you guys, I'll do it.
I gave at the Bull in Shreveport. I gave him a little heart hands, and he gave me heart hands back. It was like I connected with Oski.
Senpai Oski noticed.
I
you,
know.
Jordan.
All I ever wanted.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for having me, guys.
Thanks,
I appreciate
Hey,
it.
Drive
Colin,
safe,
get
man.
some rest.
Thank you.
Get some rest. Get you some bang energy, whatever you got to do on your trip, whatever, back, and drive safe. And hopefully, it's kind of entertaining for you somehow. Out there.
I'll find a way. I've done that drive so many times now for high school basketball playoffs mainly. It's
About to say, yeah.
Yeah.
You're always up in region 2, whatever it is. Yeah.
it's like salmon spawning upstream at this point. I know where to go. So,
Gotcha. Awesome. Good night, man.
Good
All right,
night,
thank
Colin.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's do our ad reads. Okay, folks, first off, we have things that you should buy through us because they give us money and they're good products. First off, 7 coffee roasters. Commish, got that cold brew yet?
Yeah, I did do the cold brew. I finally got over the throw thing. I did that
That's
this
right,
morning.
yes.
And this stuff is amazing. I could see sound.
Oh hell yeah! We love when you
Um,
can see
So
sound.
I could see sound waves after I had this morning, and I felt like Fry in that Futurama episode after he drank 300 cups of coffee.
Mhm.
So
Awesome.
felt great. I was
Hit me with that jet fuel.
yes,
We
just
love it.
this was something called the biscuit bitch blend, and
Yes.
it was bitching.
Okay, we also are partnered with Bearded Brothers, who do organic vegan energy bars, protein bars, and bars for kids, and cola goodies, KOLA goodies, chai tea, and milk lattes. We have links for those on our Twitter account. You can find those there. Also, with Pour More, Pour More, they're a liquor subscription service.
Oh yeah,
If you're looking for new fun types of rums or scotches or bourbons, or whatever,
yeah,
use offer code yes, ha ha ha, yes, 3 ha's for 5% off your first order.
yeah. It's cool. They have bourbon, scotch, rum, tequila, like all like craft stuff. And then if you're looking to like expand your bar, they have a bartender subscription, and each month they'll send you something different, something crazy craft wise, and just to expand your horizons. I'm waiting for my bottle. I'll just say that.
There we go. The things that we do, of course, our Patreon for $5 a month. You get access to our Discord where you get to talk about any debates that we have. You get to think about the inner goings on of what we do. You get to tell us about the things that you think make things incredibly sicko one-on-one, which is always fun to hear. You also get access from the Patreon through our paywall Substack posts and our Patreon podcasts. This past week, episode 1 of Yes, Rah, 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 Yes went out with Beth and I talking about various things. Episode 2 will be out in a week or two. We're already going to start covering sort of the earliest fight songs. And Beth, I found a songbook from like 1901.
Yes.
And a lot of the songs are before some of the schools had set fight songs. So it's more like just the shit they did in their vaudeville reviews,
Mhm.
but piano reductions. I'll send them to you.
Yeah, I've been looking up a couple that are based on old temperance anthems.
Right. Yes. And as a little sneak preview, we are going to talk about this time, the first, quote unquote, usually considered to be the first college fight song, which is For Boston by Boston College.
Mhm.
And after that, everyone jumped on the bandwagon and was like, well, these songs are better.
Yeah.
Michigan had 2 for a while. It's a lot of fun.
You had a lot of passionate opinionated people coming through after listening to your first episode of. There's some stuff on the Patreon which y'all have to address because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, I had not even looked.
I hadn't looked.
What if you answered them, Commish?
Yeah, I mean, let Commish, like the non band knower, I'll answer them. I can do that if you want me to.
No, these are fine. These are all good. Yeah, these are all fine.
Oh, there was some in the Discord chat too. So
okay, I'll have to look those up too. Okay.
Yeah, there was some there.
And then also this week we are premiering on Friday episode 1 of the Prairie View Chronicles with Commish and Feed Your Mascot podcast member Blue, and they're talking about Prairie View A&M football, the early years for the first episode. This is a limited edition run. Think of this as our serial part season 1.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. I just finished part 2, which is going to cover, man, like I wanted to do 4 years of that, and I just could not. I couldn't do it. I'm trying to keep these episodes under an hour. I couldn't do it. This is something that is incredibly fascinating to me personally because somebody's bound to get a win over time. Like this is like double the longest losing streak ever, and just to figure out all the puzzle pieces on how this actually happened has been incredibly intriguing and awesome for the exploration and just digging into the archives, which is always fun. I love to go diving into archives for records and stuff.
Sounds good. We have our YouTube page, of course, where we're posting new shorts all the time. They're great. People love them. Thank you for your feedback. If you find a clip down the road, y'all, of something we didn't clip from an old podcast episode, send it to me with timestamps anyways, because sure, why not? Maybe we'll need an extra one of these days when we're very not funny. We have our merch store, sickoscommittee.org. On that one, we're going to have a big sale going through March Madness, and then we're going to pull some stuff down and sort of get us some new stuff up there. I have some new ideas. A lot of that stuff is from early on. So if you have something there that you really like, might as well grab it.
It's time for the summer line.
I know. The bikini is ready.
Yeah, definitely. So get what you can. We're going to be running this sale probably through the end of the Final Four in the championship game. And then we're going to probably just put the store in maintenance mode for a little bit and then redesign everything. Because whatever you want, get it. We're going to be, it's March Madness.
So like you're going to have some Series 1.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you that
Season 1 Sickos Committee merch.
As someone who
First edition.
Yes.
It's a lot cheaper to buy it from us now than to buy it from Home Field whenever they decide to do our vintage line in 20 years.
That's right.
It's a lot cheaper to buy it from us right now than when we become moderately famous, and we'll sell it through, I don't know, got nothing.
Get your limited edition Yarmir Yager bobbleheads through the Sickos Committee store.
And Journey, I advise that you stop talking.
Of course, we have our Instagram as well. I posted food picture the other day, and I got lots of good feedback for it. I was very proud of myself.
I love how you had to content warning. This is carbs, Commish. You can't have this.
Sorry, I could tell it was meaner. I could tell it was meaner. Of course, our Substack as well, where we're doing the best season of all time for schools who stopped having a football team.
Yeah, I got a couple brewing. We got a few almost done. I don't have anything locked and loaded at the recording of the podcast, but I'm expecting maybe to get something out, or I may just take a break for March Madness and Merch Madness. So who knows?
I have one that is almost done, but I have to sit down and finish it. So
yeah, there's
for those of you who care a lot about small D3 schools that had football for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I have one for you. It's coming.
That's plenty of people who listen to us. That's not an insignificant number of listeners. Shout out, of course, to Message Board Geniuses podcast. They go the places that we refuse to go. And lastly, I'm in a cozy Tulane hoodie right now, even though it's kind of muggy outside because this room is a little cold. I won't lie. This morning, I did pull my St. Peter's Strut of Destiny shirt off the laundry pile. I felt powerful. I'm just saying.
I'm rocking the Ride of the Future PR T-shirt tonight.
Yeah, good choice.
That's such a good shirt.
It's a
I have
very
to.
good
I have to hand it to West Virginia and to Home Field for that shirt specifically.
We
South
love our mass
Pennsylvania, we're
transit
working on it.
boxes.
South Pennsylvania, we're working on it. We're good. Okay, Grish, Andrew, sir, tell us about basketball.
Can I start with one baseball thing?
Yeah, sure.
So-
Baseball.
There was a trade today or a few days ago.
Okay.
The White Sox traded one of their better pitchers, Dylan Cease, to the San Diego Padres. Folks, the San Diego Padres and the Los Angeles Dodgers are playing a early season 2-game series in South Korea. So the trade was consummated while the plane was on the tarmac with the Padres team, all the staff, all the trainers, everyone going to South Korea. So Dylan Cease had to make his way to South Korea by himself. Commercial.
Oh, that
He's
sucks.
he's not returning to Arizona for spring training afterwards. They're going to only play in San Diego, and then this real season will begin like next week. So the traveling secretary said that he was texting him nonstop. And the best part of the story, he obviously didn't know that he was going to be going to South Korea on short notice. His passport was missing for about 48 hours, and they didn't know if he was going to be able to make the trip.
Oh my.
But he found his passport in his temporary house.
Whew.
So yeah, that was nearly chaos. But shout out to the traveling secretaries and those sorts of logistics people that never get the love they deserve and only will be talked about if they fuck up. Yeah, always know where your passport is. Arthur
Do we know? So we know he flew commercial. Do we know if he flew like first class in the like fancy pod seat where you can like take a nap?
I hope so.
I hope so.
Or
He
did
might have had to book
fly
it so last minute that he was like in coach
Back
on
row
a
of
coach,
trans
like
on a
Red
trans-Pacific flight. Yeah.
Well,
not
also,
ideal.
I mean, do we know if it was on a Boeing? Like, do we know if it was on United Airlines? I feel like there's been a lot of stuff in the news recently like that. You know, it could be a bigger situation than you think.
I'm
No,
Googling
I
Dylan
can't-
Cease flight to Korea.
no, we can't joke. I refuse to joke
No,
about
I'm
Boeing
not
because
talking about. No,
it makes
I'm
me
not
panic.
mentioning
I
it.
don't like this.
Look, my mom just flew home and here and back safely. I am not, not talking about that stuff.
Andrew, tell me about conference tournaments now. Go.
All right, so moving on to college basketball. There were a lot of upsets this week and last week. Only 11 one seeds won the tournament. So the way that it's seeded, the top league winner, regular season winner, 1 seed. Only 11 of those teams won. A lot of chaos, a lot of bids stolen. We can talk about that. That's what caused kind of the chaos with the bubble. I don't know where we want to start. I am home currently in New York, so I was able to go to the Big East final, which was 2-2 at the end of 7 minutes, which was very sicko. Yeah, it was. They knew I was there, but then UConn started doing UConn related things, and it was a fun game though. So shout out to Marquette. They played pretty well without their best player Kolick. So that's where I'm at.
I've heard
jump
that-
around.
I've heard
we can.
E6 is now Mountain West and not Big East. People were telling me.
Yes, the Mountain West got more teams in than the Pac-12. They got the same number of teams in as the ACC, and they got double the teams in that the Big East did. So shout out to the Mountain West.
They had to put 2 Mountain West teams on the bubble, though, just to remind them that you're not as all big and mighty as you think you are.
Right. There are some teams that definitely have gripes, and I'm sure Pitt Girl is not happy at this moment, and neither are beloved Indiana State fans. Shout out to them. They're a 1 seed in NIT. Pitt has declined to play in the NIT. But we have, a situation this year where Duquesne and Oregon and NC State and a few other teams stole these bids, and they created a smaller bubble wherein there were like probably 4 to 5 teams that include Pitt, Indiana State, Seton Hall, Villanova, these sorts of teams that were really right there on the cut line. In terms of the analytics, in terms of the strength of schedule, all the things that the committee is looking at.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it was pretty tough to see some of these teams left out.
So I will briefly derail the
Go for it.
podcast.
Hey.
Go ahead. Opine.
We have
please.
rails.
I will opine. Yes. So everything you said, Grish, is correct, except for I do not understand what the argument for putting Virginia in over Pitt is.
There
And,
isn't one.
Yeah. Like,
It's
what
that
was the
Tony
fucking
Bennett is their
point?
coach, and they won
What was-
a championship recently.
What was the point of Pitt running them off their own floor in Charlottesville if they get like? I'm also like extremely mad online about, as is the rest of Pitt Twitter, about Joe Lunardi, like specifically going out of his way to pick on Pitt fans today.
He's a Philly guy, so he has a agenda.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but like they're
He can also log off, so
yeah, dude, log off. Like, you don't need to dunk on Greater Pitt internet because you turned out to be right because the bubble got smaller.
Listen,
Like,
Virginia can't lose to a 16 seed if they don't make the tournament.
It's true. It is true.
Virginia also doesn't have any good wins.
No. You know who has good wins? Pitt has good wins.
Pitt has good wins.
WVU also has good wins, though, so that I don't.
Pitt has more good wins.
That's true.
Arthur, how was the ACC tournament?
I mean, it's a first class experience going to something like the ACC tournament. I love having it in Washington, D.C. Normally it's in North Carolina. Like, if you look at the schedule, like every future one that has been scheduled for North Carolina. I cannot figure out a reason between when it's in Greensboro versus when it's in Charlotte. Like, it's not like they alternate every other year. So I don't know what's up with that. But no, I mean, it's a great time going down to Washington, D.C. I love the vibes of conference tournaments because there are certain things that you don't get when you go see like a regular season game, right? Like, number one for me is the stuff that happens during the media timeouts. Because when you go, like, if you go obviously to like, I don't know, like an NHL or an NBA game or some like home sports team, right? Like, they do this stuff every single game and they have, lots of games every year. You go to a conference tournament, like all the stuff they're doing in the timeouts, it's like, yeah, like we've never rehearsed this. This is something we came up with on the fly. There was one when I was there where they tried to do like a trivia thing or like a guess, like, oh, like I think the question was guess. And it was like a contestant was playing this, like, can you guess what the like highest margin of victory ever in an ACC tournament game was? And then the person doing it tried to give this guy like all these hints. Well, it's bigger than this, but less than that. And then the guy like guessed a number like completely out of the range and like got booed. Which, by the way, that was not the only, like, I feel like the only reaction that these like TV timeout things going on in the arena, the only reaction they were getting was boos. I mean, I think the loudest boos were for when they did a like slideshow of famous alumni for the schools, and for Pitt's famous alumni thing, one of the alumni they put up on the Jumbotron was David Tepper, who is the owner of the Carolina Panthers.
Oh,
the boos when they put him up there, like he was the only person in anyone's slideshow that got booed.
I mean,
and it was loud.
I would boo him too.
Yeah, I mean, I think
he did pay Kevin Stallings buyout, but my dude could, as a Pitt alumnus, it would be nice if he gave us more money and stopped plastering his name all over the Carnegie Mellon Business School instead.
Well, when you think about where ACC fans, where a lot of them are from, like, I get why they in particular are really booing this guy. I mean, like, it's just
many reasons to boo
like,
David Tepper.
I just think you go down to a conference tournament, like, you can like just like meet random people who are like, oh, like not even a fan of teams that are playing, right? Like, you'll go to a game and there will be fans from like completely different schools that are just like, hey, like, so what about that player on your team? Like, how's he? And the other thing too is that like you have all of these games until I guess maybe like the final. You might not have this phenomenon, but like before that, so much of the crowd are people that are there for a team that isn't playing in that particular game. Like it's like me sitting there watching a game that has, I mean, well, I guess theoretically, like if these teams win and then my team wins, like we could play later, but it's not like there's so many people who are just
grinding
like,
tape
vibing out
there,
and
yeah.
chilling. Yeah, it's great.
That is it. And that right there is one of the biggest arguments I have for like why going to a random NCAA tournament weekend is a blast.
Yes.
It's really fun just to show up and catch the vibe.
This is
The
college football
absolutely.
doesn't have this, and that's the part that sucks because it's always 1 versus 1.
Yeah.
Like as much as I hate conference tournaments, and I've said such over and over again, this is cool.
It's so much fun whenever you have a crowd that is mostly disinterested in what is going on in a particular game. And as the game heats up, everyone in the crowd, it's like simultaneously everyone is suddenly taking sides. And it's amazing when it happens.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, I remember the funniest one I've seen was last year, right? I was at the NCAA tournament in Greensboro for Pitt. But this was actually the evening session, so Pitt had played in the morning. But the crowd got into a game, but not the game that was actually on the court in front of us. We got into the game that was on the Jumbotron. Like they were like doing like live look-ins, and then when it came down to crunch time, it was like, okay, we're basically gonna like do like a picture-in-picture like while live game action is happening.
Oh, that's
stadium.
beautiful.
So much.
This was a 16 seed beating a 1 seed in a completely different city, but like the crowd, we were really into this game that was not the one in front of us. But no, the one thing I want to shout out specifically about the ACC tournament, and specifically about it being in Washington D.C., is that and another thing that contributes to the awkwardness of like media timeout stuff is that the sponsors, like some of these are regional sponsors, but then the conference tournament is completely outside their footprint. So like you have the like presenter trying to give away a Food Lion gift card in Washington D.C.
That's not
Great stuff.
Safeway.
I can't even imagine where would you even go for that? What beach is closest?
You have to find a fan that traveled from somewhere where there actually is Food Lion.
I mean, it's Washington, D.C. Somebody's going to be going to the Outer Banks in the next week.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
There are
Probably.
more Food Lions in more places than you might expect. I am aware of one in Franklin County, Pennsylvania.
There's one in Hancock, Maryland, so you don't have to go too terribly far.
Okay, there you go. Okay, Andrew, what else? What are our stories that we had in the conference tournaments? What's the fun stuff that we should go back and double check on?
All right, so the first one that we must discuss that Colin mentioned, I don't know how we're going to cut this, so
Who knows?
you can cut this if
Yeah.
we jump around. Long Beach State, up and down season for them. They beat Michigan. They had some really good wins in non-con. They went 10-10 in the Big West, which is basically California schools in Hawaii, so it's a great conference. Bad logo though. But anyway, they decided to part ways with their coach, Don Munson, who was the coach at Gonzaga when they made their run back in '99 with Steve Morrison and all of them.
Oh, wow.
They basically fired him and said, you can finish out the season. They went to the conference tournament as the 4 seed and they won. And they're in the NCAA tournament. And the interview after the game was one of the most awkward things I've ever seen on television. Because they basically said, what's next for you? He's like, well, I want to keep coaching. It was pretty awkward.
You never give the coach a chance to do this.
You can just finish out the
No.
season. Joke's on you. This season is now forever.
Right. Like that's you don't
Yes.
let them do this.
You're
don't let
trapped
them-
in here with me.
This is crazy because like Dan Monson, he has been at Long Beach State since 2007.
Yep.
So he's been there since 2007. He was the Big West Coach of the Year, the 3 years in a row from 2011 to 2013, and then just 2 years ago in 2022, then he was fired and stated that they're going to be parting ways at the end of the season. But then, like, I mean, like
The best part of the story is
I just
in the
can't
Big
believe
West.
this happened.
They were 10-5 in the Big West, so they were in a pretty good spot. They lost 5 in a row going
At
into
the very
that
end,
tournament.
like this
and
slid at the end.
And then they won 3 straight in neutral site in Henderson, Nevada, which is basically like 20 minutes from Vegas. So
yeah, that was so
he got it done.
So basically, you know,
You're playing with house money. Things feel different, man.
Kind of. They take on Arizona, right?
Yeah, they're
believe so.
15.
They're 15 seed and they're taking on Arizona. Which
Anything can
Arizona,
happen.
I have no idea what to make of them. So
I believe.
Okay, what other conference stories do we have?
So we have some new blood teams that have never made the NCAA tournament before.
Yes, we do.
Shout out to our Twitter friend, Never Made the Tournament Club. You should definitely follow him. He has a nice spreadsheet pinned of all the teams that have never made it. Grambling, out of the SWAC, has made their first NCAA tournament ever. They've been eligible since the 1977-1978 season. And Stetson, the Hatters, tip your cap to them.
Yeah.
First NCAA tournament for them. So 2 teams that it's pretty baffling have never made it before. And we were close on a couple other ones. High Point was the 1 seed in the Big South. They're the 1 seed now in the CBI because they lost in the final to, I think the semifinal.
Yeah. To the 4 seeds. I forgot who they lost to.
They did indeed. There's a few other teams. St. Thomas Tommies, pretty new to D1. I'm not eligible yet. There's a few teams like that where they're playing well, but they don't yet have that eligibility. If we remember Merrimack from a few years ago. Merrimack.
I like
I'm trying to add extra syllables.
Merrimack.
Shout out to
That's how I
Merrimack
figured
for
it was
giving us
pronounced.
the blessing of Fairleigh Dickinson last year, though.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Indeed, they did. But yeah, those are the 2 new teams that have never been in before, which I think is always fun to recall.
Sure.
What else do we have here? It was basically announced on the selection show that New Mexico only made the tournament because they won the conference championship of the Mountain West. He basically insinuated that. Folks, if you're following along at home, New Mexico had a great year. They're 26-9. Now I know, obviously, we all acknowledge that the Mountain West is a great league, but it's tougher with that strength of schedule, and maybe you're playing those late night games. But they had a great season, and they won the Mountain West Conference tournament in Vegas. The arena was completely full of New Mexico fans. I think it's like this kind of Iowa, Nebraska situation where they don't have a pro team, so the Lobos are the pro team. That's what it kind of felt like. It was those same vibes to me.
Their stadium was it known as the Pitt, right?
Yeah, and it holds 15,000. So
yeah,
Albuquerque is a big city. So yeah, they have the AAA baseball team, but they have their pro team is New Mexico. So they beat Air Force, Boise State, Colorado State, and San Diego in the Mountain West tournament, and they're going dancing. And they were made an 11 seed for their efforts. So
that's
here we are with that. Yeah, a couple of crazy endings last night. As folks know, Kent State Akron is a very vicious rivalry.
Yeah.
There have been incidents where like the teams have tweeted like pretty vicious things at each other. Some kind of bad stuff, honestly, a few years ago.
Last year, Kent State, they met in this conference tournament. Kent State won and then had a bunch of their players suspended for making a like fuck Akron diss track.
Yes!
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, they did.
I love that.
They did that. That was what I was trying to remember, if it was like a diss
imagine
track.
writing a diss track about Akron as if Akron's own existence was not itself a diss. Not the university, the city, to be clear. I have no grudge against the Zips.
Oh, I fucking forgot about that.
Anyway, that did happen last year. This year they met in the final.
Ain't no mad like Northeast Ohio mad.
Yeah, and so Kent State scores to go up 71-70. There's like 15 seconds left. 61-60, thank you.
Like 5 seconds left. Or 6 or 7 seconds left.
Yeah. Clearly, I remember the details of this vividly. 61-60.
It's almost like you watched a lot of basketball this week.
It's almost like I was watching on the train home from the Big East tournament. Anyway.
I was watching this live.
61-60. 6 seconds left. Kent State had one of their guards not know time and score, and he fouled.
Oh no!
Now it it was the 1-1. So there was an opportunity for Kent State to still send it to overtime. But Akron did hit both free throws. Kent State had a prayer 3 miss, and Akron made the tournament, and Kent State did
That's
not.
some hating
So
ass hating. Oh my god,
that was tough. Yeah, and I want to shout out the Brown Bears who played a valiant
oh, it was so close.
Ivy League tournament. They beat Princeton pretty handily yesterday, and today they were up on Yale by like 8 for a while. Yale comes back. The very end, Yale is down by 1. I don't remember the score again, but Yale.
Amazingly, it was the same score, 61-60.
Wow, what do you know?
For real, what are the odds? But it was.
What are the odds of that?
Yes.
Yeah. So Yale's dribbling down court, almost throw the ball away. Hello, Cat. The wild pass nearly intercepted. Instead, Yale, the guard bounces it to the forward, and he kind of puts one of those like boof shots in.
No.
That was very descriptive.
Right as time
and Yale won at the buzzer to stop Brown from making it as a 6-8 Ivy League 4 seed. But listen, that's why these conference tournaments are amazing. There's still something to play for, and the Ivy League is a great example of it because they didn't have it before. It used to just be the automatic. Would make
as God intended.
Yeah,
Shut up, nerd.
Hey,
I don't love conference tournaments, but it does add a great value of games and matchups and neutral site. And how does a team look playing 3 games in 3 days? How does a team look playing 5 games in 5 days like NC State did? Like, just crazy stuff.
They got that dog in them.
big beefy boys.
I just want to say one more thing about Kent State. I feel like if you look at Kent State fans, they would predominantly also be fans of the Cleveland Cavaliers. So they have seen one of their players in the NBA forget the score of a game in the NBA Finals. In this case, dribbling out the game when it was tied instead of laying up the winning basket. But
boy.
that's a brutal way to go.
Tough scenes.
Okay, so go ahead.
The thing in that Akron Kent State game is the person that committed the foul. He had fouled when they were down 1 on the possession before to do that. So like basically it was a muscle memory. Oh crap, we still got a foul. And so it happened 2 possessions, same person, same style of foul too. So it was unfortunate, but I mean, shout out to Akron for making the both of 1 and 1. Because I mean, that's
your free
pressure.
throws.
Made the free throws. I mean, Brown, they missed their free throws, and they look what happened. They had 2 free throws, and they missed them both, and they lost by 1. If you'd have made 1 or 2, they could have prevented, Yale from winning the Ivy League. But that was kind of, I love these like conference tourneys. They're a lot of fun because I think Roger Sherman was at the Ivy League one.
Yes, he was.
And the gym was so ridiculously packed, like the mascots had to sit in the rafters. So he had like mascot heads blocking his view, which was incredible. And then he would go to that for the Ivy League tournament, and then he would go to Madison Square Garden for the Big East tourney, like in the same city.
And he was sitting. I saw him at the game. He was sitting at a table, like the media tables, and he was just like spread out because clearly at the Ivy League tournament he had to sit. Like
Yeah, he was. Roger was man spreading. So at the Big East tournament.
I will say also in defense of conference tournaments, as a Pitt fan right now, I am broadly mad about bid stealers. But as a general fan of the sport, one of the things that is really enjoyable about that is bid stealers. And like, shout out to Duquesne. This is their first conference appearance since like 1979 or something like that.
77.
Yeah. 1977. So I, for one, think that this is a great argument to Jeff Capel that, maybe if we had played the city game, we might have gotten in too.
Did you guys see the Duquesne game at all?
No.
Because I did.
The entire A10 tournament was just craziness.
Yes, it was nuts.
The whole thing.
If you missed it, with 3 minutes into the second half,
Mhm.
the Duquesne confetti cannon went off.
That's right.
Yes.
Premature confetti ejaculation. Yes.
Yeah.
I
And
thought
Kevin
you were going
Harlan
to
had
turn
the
around it so much
Well, that's an
cuter.
episode title.
There was a lengthy delay while
went
they
straight
cleaned up
for
the
it.
confetti off the court.
Confetti everywhere.
And then immediately after that, Duquesne, who had a sizable lead at that point,
Yeah.
went 2 for 19 from the field for the
Jesus.
next 11 minutes.
The curse of the
Like-
confetti.
It looked like this was going to be like one of those all-timer, like, oh my god, because like they're cleaning up the confetti. There's Duquesne confetti everywhere, and like VCU just looks pissed. Like they're just furious the entire time, and they came out with just this ferocious defense and like got it to within 2 twice. God bless them. And Duquesne managed to pull it out. Just some great rebounding down the stretch. But yeah, like that confetti cannon went off and I'm like, oh my god, this is about to be cursed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can see how premature confettiing might be embarrassing.
Mm-hmm. Especially when everyone sees.
It just shows
It's
you've been
okay.
having
It's
a good
okay.
time and you're enjoying yourself.
It's okay, Atlantic 10. It happens to every conference tourney.
If it's red, white, and blue, please seek medical attention.
It's true. Red, white, and blue, and an eagle cause when it happens. Can we talk about the NIT then? Andrew, tell me what you think about the NIT right now. Sorry,
So-
the men's NIT.
Well,
Do you want to opt out of discussing the NIT? We can.
Can we go
We can
to like?
decline to discuss the NIT.
I mean, we can do some.
Can we
bid
talk about the
snubs.
CBI first?
Oh yeah, we
Yes,
should
there
do
we go. Yes.
Okay.
Who's in the CBI?
Guess who the last team in the CBI is?
Who is it?
The number 15 seed.
Do it.
Indiana State.
No.
No.
That's they're number 1 seed.
Chicago State.
Yeah.
Hey!
Okay, you know what?
Chicago-
All worth it.
The CBI is
Chicago
good.
State has a chance
Their
to win the
CB is
CBI.
incredible.
They're gonna play like
Yeah.
they haven't played since like February.
Wait, months.
They haven't played in 6 weeks.
They're gonna play.
Oh, I love this sport. Yeah, they're gonna play.
Oh my God.
Okay,
So-
well,
That's beautiful.
Okay, now I have
Yeah.
2 teams to root for. Well, and Auburn, but
We
now
took
I
a-
have 2 teams to root
Well,
for in the
on
postseason.
the
We took a
women's
gap
side of
month.
things, on the women's side of things, which we don't want to get too far into that, we'll discuss that next podcast. But ULM, the ladies, has made the women's NIT.
Ah.
Woo!
I can't believe that. I'm so happy.
I
I'm
don't
so
really know
happy.
why,
Woo!
but the men's NIT was okay. So it was. Let me just say one thing, and then we can discuss like why the change was made and why it stinks. The women's NIT for some reason is 48 teams. I don't know why. The men's NIT is 32.
Is
I don't.
the
I don't
women's NIT
understand.
not sponsored by the NCAA, right?
no, it's not. It's separate.
No, and
Yeah,
the
so it's
men's
separate.
NIT isn't really either.
Well, it
Yeah,
is
because they
kinda.
used to. The NIT used to just be at Madison Square Garden. It was the way that a championship was crowned, like in
Right.
the 1930s and 40s.
Yeah,
and
the
50s.
NIT
And then
was
the
the
NCAA
championship.
developed. Yeah, and it was like local teams a lot of the time because CCNY and those kind of teams were dominant at the time, and then like Oregon and Ohio State back in the day of like Jerry Lucas and Pete Maravich. So that
So what
that
were
those times.
What were the rules that they changed this year with the NIT, Andrew?
So they went from it being that if you're a mid major, like we can use App State as an example because they actually made this NIT. In the past, they were the regular season champ, right?
Mhm.
Of the Sun Belt. Let's use the Sun Belt as an example. That team was guaranteed basically a slot in the NIT if they lost their conference tournament.
Okay.
So this year they've removed that rule. So I'm trying to think of an example of a team. All the examples I'm thinking of
High
actually
Point?
were put in. Yeah, High Point is a good example. Yes, thank you. High Point was the 1 seed in the Big South. They won the league. They lost in the conference tournament, and they were not invited to the NIT. They're in the CBI, CBI instead. So those kind of teams
Yeah.
have now either basically been denied the chance at playing more basketball, or they're not hosting, or like Quinnipiac as well, another team that's never made the NCAA tournament. they would have in the past been guaranteed a spot in the NIT, and now they're the 6th seed in the CBI instead. So the NIT is now inviting 2 teams from the Power 6 conferences, which is the Power 5 plus the Big East. So teams like under 500 Xavier team,
16 and
17 and 16
Xavier
Georgia,
something like that,
Yeah, and High Point is left to be in the CBI. I just think it kind of stinks.
Don't get me wrong, I love the Xavier blob, but 16 and 17, you kind of, I hate this NIT rule change because the auto qualifiers, hey, you got something. Like, you won your regular season title. You have something if something misfortunate happens in the conference tourney, which I think was it 19 1 seeds in these smaller, lost. And so they lost everything, including our beloved Indiana State Sycamores. They were the 1 seed in the tourney. And, they lost in the final to Drake, which Drake is amazing, along with them. But, not having that
you should be guaranteed. You should be guaranteed.
I feel bad for Eastern Washington. They're the 1 seed in the Big Sky, and they had a great season, a phenomenal season. They were 15 and 3 in the Big Sky, and they lose in the first round to 10 seed Sac State, and they get nothing. I don't even know if they're in a tournament. Are they in a tournament anywhere?
They're not in the CBI.
They're not in the CBI. They're not in the NIT.
No.
Yeah, that's an absolute bummer.
And then, of course, but this was all built to be we need to have more Power 6 teams in here. We need to make sure that they want to be there. And then we have all this. We're laying things out for them, and then the Power 6 teams are actually, fuck it, I don't want to be in the NIT anyways. So Pitt says no, Ole Miss says no, Indiana says no, St. John says no.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense to not play. If you're a team where you had a good season and you want something to continue, then maybe play in the NIT. If you're a young team where you're thinking okay, maybe we can get more games, more practices, and this can benefit us next year, maybe do it. But if you're a team where you're in a Power 6 league, right, then your standard is, the NCAA tournament. And you're not in a situation like that. A lot of teams, if you didn't have the ending of your season that you wanted to, or you have some issues, it's well, then why play more games just to kind of prolong things, right? Teams right now, if you are a power conference team, you're trying to see okay, how are we going to turn things around next year? That means, hitting up the transfer portal, right? So the players that you have now aren't going to be the players that you have next season. It means that, if maybe you have to do a coaching thing or maybe even, maybe if it's not a head coaching change, assistants, reshuffle your coaching. There's so much work that you want to put into next season. So why are you going to play this when you could get started on that?
But someone was sure that they wanted these spots. Someone was sure that they said, these P5 teams want to be here.
The NIT people are saying that, I think they're dumb, but they kind of have this growth mindset or whatever, where it's okay, look, the NCAA tournament is super. They make a lot of money and they're super valuable. And why can't we just do that? Well, what if we had some big name teams? And, we can look at it and see that, that's never going to happen, but we're not the ones that are trying to sell people on this. I guess what it all comes down to, right, is if you remember the end of the college football season, right, when Florida State played in that, the Orange Bowl, right? You look at the money behind the Orange Bowl, the sponsorship, the TV rights, all of that stuff, still super profitable for the people running it, still super profitable for, the people who are making money off of these things. And so, it's maybe you can make a lot more money with a team that doesn't want to be there versus, a team that would jump at the opportunity to do this.
Yeah. So the counter argument I would have around teams like Pitt declining this NIT bid is twofold. Number one, I think to some degree Pitt does fall into that bucket of a young team where you might want the like additional game time. Also, and this is just me being selfish as a Pitt fan, it sucks that Blake Hinson's last game in a Pitt uniform was him like just clanking threes against UNC when we all know that he's much better than that. I would have liked to have seen him have the opportunity to go out better than he did, but also like the whole like the backcourt are freshmen, the Diaz's Graham are sophomores. Like there's value I think in getting the additional practice time out of it, and it's interesting sort of as a counterpoint to what you were saying about Florida State, Arthur, is that you don't see teams declining bowl bids in part because of the like value of the practice time, right? Even if individual players opt out, the team does not. And I understand like you have way more football players, and so if you have your people opt out, you still have enough people to like actually play the game, right? But it is like, I don't know, I don't follow college basketball as in its entirety as closely as I follow college football, but I was a little surprised to see this many declines on the NIT. I don't know, it's weird.
Well, I mean, you can compare bowl payouts to NIT payouts, and the bowl payouts are a heck of a lot bigger, especially for things like the Orange Bowl, when it might not be a playoff, but it's still a New Year's Six game. And let's not forget, I mean, the players aren't making anything, right? I mean, like even players that have NIL, they're not going to have they're not going to make more by playing in the NIT.
Maybe they should.
I would argue that you are like that they're passing on the opportunity to have their team names spelled wrong on their NIT champion shirt. Shout out to 2007 West Virginia. But
well, yeah, that's I don't know. I think I said this on Twitter as well. Like I am more willing to be convinced that we should basically almost double the size of the NCAA tournament and take every conference champion and tournament champion, and then some at-larges.
I mean, if you're going to do that, because there have been the rumors floating around about there being interest in expanding the NCAA tournament.
But it won't be that. It guarantee it won't be that.
Guarantee it won't be that. If they do it
no
should
way.
be that. It's not going to be that.
It'll be
like
more
won't
at
be
large.
the
It'll be more at large.
Yeah.
And but fuck it, like that's lots of things. Thank you, Andrew.
I think
more calm about this than I would be.
Yeah, I think the one big thing is these are decisions being made hopefully with the input of players. Maybe they put it to a vote. I don't know those kind of details. I feel like these kind of decisions are mostly being made by the administrators and the coaches, like to say, okay, are we going to play in this or not? Maybe it's a vote. I don't know. The big thing is tomorrow, literally tomorrow, the transfer portal opens for teams that had coaching turnover, for players that weren't getting the minutes that they wanted. So that's a huge part of this. I'm pro transfer portal. I think that you should be able to leave a school if the coach leaves, whatever, you didn't get the playing time you wanted, whatever, that's fine. The other thing is, I think this is just the NIT trying to stay relevant when they actually do expand the NCAA tournament. These teams that are getting in the NIT, the Seton Halls, we would want, maybe there's usually one or two or three teams that we all feel like, oh man, this sucks that they got left out of the NCAA tournament. That's just how the cookie crumbles. This year, I feel like those teams are probably Seton Hall, Indiana State, and Pitt. Mm-hmm. And the fact that Virginia, we talked about that already, but that the Virginia got in instead of some of those teams. There's always going to be those teams that are in a like, oh man, they should have probably got in. Mm-hmm. Even if they expanded the tournament, the cut line would just be like 10 teams down. Now, would those teams be good teams? Probably would not feel as strongly. But the fans of those teams, the administrators of those teams, the coaches of those teams, the players of those teams would feel pretty strongly that like, oh, we should be in the NCAA tournament. So even if they expand the tournament, it's just going to push it down. And it's going to increase the number of like, oh, is this team in? Is this team not going to be in? It's just going to be a different version of the same conversation we have now with just more teams and more money for the NCAA. If the NCAA still exists going forward.
There we go.
We'll see.
Okay. I would like to do a shorter version of what are we calling this segment? What's it on and why should I watch it? What are we calling it?
WICUAWSIWI.
Actually.
What is coming up and why should I watch it? The Wiscoozy.
Wiscoozy, there we go.
Yes.
And this is not...
I would recommend the CBI, but it's on Flow Sports, so...
At least, the ULM women are in the NIT.
Just
I
for
think
2 seconds, something that makes the NIT very different from things like bowl games is like, while it's more stuff that people have to do, please remember that the opening rounds of the NIT are played on campus sites.
on campus.
They provide home
Mhm.
games. Like it's
awesome. It's home game.
it's a different vibe for that.
Yeah.
Like,
Same.
I actually went to an NIT game several years ago today in Pittsburgh. The GW mascot was like doing the worm on the court. I remember.
Go
Well,
revolutionary.
And the other thing too is that it's not like the NIT, like the games start pretty quickly, right? Like part of the bowl games, like there's a lot of stuff that happens besides the bowl game. Like there's none of that for the NIT. Like it's just like great. Like you have another game and it starts very, very soon.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly, the one thing I would say about tournament expansion is that like fine, whatever, expand the tournament, but like maybe just change the schedule, because if you're a fan of a team that gets sent to Dayton, right, you have like maybe like 2 or 3 days notice,
48 hours.
Like
you're going.
Yeah, like where your team is playing and what's going on. Like if they were to expand the tournament, like have a bigger like first four type deal, I mean, I would say like fine, do that, but like just make that like its own weekend and then start the tournament like the next Thursday or something. Give people more time to fill out brackets. Like yes, the season will go 1 week later, but like I don't know. That's the one thing that like having done that last year, I went to Dayton and I just happened to be lucky enough that Dayton, which has been anointed as the one spot to play those games, is close to me relatively, but like that's like if you're a fan of a team that's from across the country, like you make the NCAA tournament and like that's your one game, you have 2 days to get to Dayton.
You got UC Irvine, 48 hours to Dayton.
Oh God, that's the shittiest cannonball run ever.
Oh, I want that as a YouTube documentary though.
I remember when the University of New Orleans had to get to Dayton. They were like a 16 seed, and they had to go to Dayton. And it's just like, okay, how would I get there?
Yeah, good luck booking that flight.
Yeah, I was like,
it's
New Orleans
not like
to
like a convenient
Columbus
flight city.
Like, wait, I mean, I know
it's
they're the
like
Dayton
halfway
Flyers.
between Columbus and Cincinnati. So
it's like, do you go to Cincy or do I go to Columbus?
They do have an airport there. And
well, I would hope so. Their name is the Flyers.
The Flyers.
Right.
Shout out to my.
They definitely have
dad.
an Air Force base.
My dad is a
Patterson
Dayton
there.
alum, so he's a big fan of Kobe Elvis on Dayton's team.
Yeah, they have the Air Force Museum there as well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My Wiscusi.
Wiscusi.
I don't know if y'all remember me talking about this last year, but if I do, I'm going to say the name of it. If you remember details, say them. Something called the Barkley Marathons.
Yes, I remember you talking about this.
Oh yeah,
a good idea.
Right. Mm-hmm. So what parts do you all remember?
This is the insane ultra marathon in the woods where it's just like a guy's idea and you go in the woods for a while and then you come back and it's like
you hopefully
100 miles
come
or
back.
something.
And he lights
Hopefully
a
you come
cigarette
back.
and everybody runs and you have to collect pages, except sometimes people don't collect the right pages or they lose their belt and then it's tragic.
Right. So let me get a baseline for people who didn't understand what Beth just said. Those words actually all make sense in that context. The Barkley Marathons is a yearly race. It is approximately 100 miles.
Approximately.
Because the guy that runs this is a guy by the name of Lazarus Lake, and by Laz. And his friend Raw Dog helped him come up with this.
I can't wait to tell my Gen Z coworkers that there's a person in
Please
the world who goes by the name Raw Dog.
Laz and Raw Dog. Laz
And
and Raw Dog.
What these guys basically were talking about the escape of James Earl Ray, the man who assassinated Martin Luther King Jr. He escaped from a penitentiary near this place in Tennessee where they had this race. And they were talking about that Ray didn't cover much ground on that terrain. And that they could probably do better than him. And the idea from the race came from there. It is 100 miles-ish. And basically from 1986 to 1955, 1995, there were just no winners. Like, no one finished.
It's so the mileage sounds incredible, and it is just by itself. What kills you in this race is the elevation.
Yes.
Because you are moving you're gaining or losing about 3,000 feet in elevation every 1 to 2 miles.
What?
20
This is
and then 20 miles per lap.
Yep. This is a nightmare of a race. It's in the
Yeah,
Smokies, and it's just up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down.
It is meant to break you physically and mentally. It is something that is just going to just test every single limit of your entire body and your brain at the same time.
Do y'all remember how you get into this race?
There's some sort of, like, you need some sort of letter or something.
So they only take 35 runners. And this is a thing that is known around the world. They only take 35. And you have to, how to apply for this is a secret. It's an open secret, but it is still a secret. And the payment is $1.60. And then any other requirements. Some years Laz needs shirts, so he asks for shirts. Some years Laz needs socks, so socks are part of the entry fee. If you've won before, usually it's a pack of Camel cigarettes.
Seems reasonable.
And
I'm betting those are unfiltered, but yeah.
And bib number 1 is given out to the person who is least likely to finish a lap. Sort of the human sacrifice. He always takes 1. And when I say human sacrifice, I don't mean a dude that looks like me, okay? I'm talking about someone who's run ultramarathons, but not like a lot of them.
I have a very close friend who is an ultramarathoner. He's in the middle of running from Erie to Altoona, PA right now, just for fun.
Fun. That's a weird word.
And he describes this as something he's like, I'm not interested in training like that.
Yes, even crazy people think this is crazy.
He's like, no, I just kind of want to go out there and have fun. That's too hard. And I'm like, whoa, okay.
So, by the way, the elevation is about 54,000 feet of accumulated vertical climb, and then 55,000 feet the other way too.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's so many.
Yeah, like
that's almost 2 Mount Everests. No, thank you.
It is.
I mean, if you make it to the last lap, it's not a question of like you might hallucinate. You will be having major hallucinations. Like your brain won't be functioning properly anymore.
So on the path, they have to collect pages of a book. He'll usually have a theme about pain or whatever, but there'll be books out on the course. And to prove that you've completed a lap, because there is no map, there is no GPS allowed. There is a map back at the start, and you can copy it onto your map if you want, but no pictures and no tech. And what they'll do is, so they write this down, and along the course, they have to pull out a page of a book based on whatever bib. They wear a different bib every lap. And so they have to pull out this page, and that's the way that you know that you've hit every checkpoint, because it's 20 miles per lap-ish, and there is no course. The course is vibes. The course is
book to book.
The course is based on like directions you used to get from your grandpa. It's like, oh, the barn that was there 4 years ago, right there.
Oh, so you mean directions in central Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I was going to say we do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
That thing that used to be there. Yeah, take a right there.
Mm-hmm.
What's there now? I don't know. There used to be a brown barn there. Goddamn. There is a cutoff. You have to make it basically about 12 hours a loop, because you have to be able to complete the whole thing, 100 miles, in 60 hours. That includes sleep, that includes eat, that includes rest, that includes whatever. And I don't think if I ever sat down, I would get back up again. After 60 miles, after 20 miles, if I'm going down, I'm never getting back up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's time to I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah, ultramarathon friend has met Laz before and talked to him about like what happens when people lose pages or things like that. And Laz is like, yeah, I always say the same thing. That's real impressive. It's not a finish.
Yep.
Oof.
Like, oh,
that's rough, buddy.
So how does this race start? Well, you're told to get to the park sometime in the week before. It's happening right now. The gathering is. But We know in the next week.
It hasn't started yet.
No, the race
though.
has not started yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in the pre-ent moot.
Yeah, because there is no official starting time or date. It happens sometime in March, and an hour before it's supposed to start, Laz blows a conch shell to tell you there's exactly an hour to start. The race starts when he lights a cigarette and takes a drag, and then you leave from the yellow gate at Frozen Head, and you follow the path. And most people don't make it through lap 1. That's usually how it goes. And most years, no one finishes. Unfortunately, last year, 3 people finished. And the people that are in this scene know that when something good happens like that, Laz tends to change it.
He's definitely mad.
It's not meant to be won.
Yeah. Is it the last lap where you go in opposite directions?
So the last lap, you get a choice. So whoever's there first gets to choose the direction of the last lap. And if someone else is in the last lap with you, they have to go the other direction. This hasn't actually happened a lot to actually... This hasn't happened enough times to really matter. But yeah, you have to go the other direction on each other so that no one knows until you get back. You're not chasing someone. You know you crossed them at some point, but you don't know where. It's bonkers. Like
Wow.
this thing usually, the people that finish it quickly, the record is 52 hours, but that's the record by that's the kind of record where you look at like speed runs and you go, oh, I'm not getting first, but I can play for second or third. Because after 52 minutes, the next one's like 52 hours. The next
52 minutes.
God, the next one's like 57
Imagine.
hours. The slowest finish in history was last year, 59 hours, 53 minutes, and 33 seconds. He was 6.5 minutes off from losing it, and people have lost it at the last moment.
Oh my god.
They've come back seconds late, or they've come back on time but realized they missed a page, so they knew they cut a corner or something. Yeah, this thing is just nothing I would ever want to do, y'all. But the lore around this is good, right? It is weird dude, middle of nowhere thing. This happens for 35 people. It's like a bespoke dinner.
This is so Appalachian Hill Jack. It hurts.
Right? It feels that way.
Did we talk about the essay? There's an essay also.
Oh, yes, there is an essay.
As part of the entrance.
Yeah, it's an essay called Why I Should Be Allowed to Run in the Barkley. And when you get in, you do get a letter of condolence.
I like that, though, because it's that why I should be allowed to run in the Barkley is giving very, what I did on my summer vacation as an essay prompt.
I'm going to try to get Alana to do it this year because she refused last year, but my wife Alana runs races. She'd tell you first she's not fast, but she likes running experience. She runs the Dipsy in May, which is a trail race out in San Francisco. And that one, there are several ways to get in. The first one is you have to have it has to go by post office. But clearly, if you're in Southern California, it's going to get to Southern California faster. Or is that Southern? Say Southern. God, San Francisco people will shoot me. But mid-coast. So it gets there faster. The other one is that you can either bribe your way in. There's 1,000 spots that are basically silent auction based. You send in X amount of dollars, and if you get it, you get in. If it's not high enough, they'll send it to you back. They'll send it back to you at least. Then they have essays, and Alana got in there the first time. We're pretty sure is because she wrote an essay about how her uncle, who's been running this he's 80 and he still runs it every once in a while. That she'll never be a real runner if she doesn't do this, and big sob story. It was very good. So she got him for that, and I think she's gonna do it again this year. So we'll see what she gets in.
I like race. I like the idea of races with essay components as someone who is deeply unathletic but does write a pretty good essay.
Jordan, how long is the fun run?
The fun run is the first 3 laps. So you 60 miles to get the fun run.
Oh, so much fun.
You don't get your name anywhere for that. It just happens to be there.
I personally love this because we're talking about this on the podcast and we don't know when this is actually going to start. Yeah.
It might have started now.
It may have started and we don't know. But potentially some of the runners are going silent on social media. We don't necessarily have an official start to anything, but
that's why it's so perfect and chaotic and organic.
It could be starting soon at some point in time.
It's the opposite of it's the Disney World Marathon, and you're in a corral that starts at 6:08 a.m. that is for people dressed as, Princess Fiona only, and God help you if you show up as a Jasmine. Like, that's like, it's such the opposite of that, is barely maintain chaos of a couple of friends like showing up to be like, well, fuck, I'll run it. I'll be back. Hold my beer. This dude also has another race, by the way, called Big's Backyard Ultra. There's a 4-mile loop, and you must finish 1 mile every, how long is it?
You are eliminated if you fail to complete a loop in an hour. I was just reading a Wikipedia article about this.
There you go. So basically, everyone's at the start of each hour, there's a whistle, you run your lap, and you've got to keep going for as long as possible. The record is 108.
God.
My friend has run that one.
That's 4.5 days where you run a 4-mile lap every hour. Y'all, I've done shot a minute and gotten too tired to go on. This is more impressive. Shot 35. Oh, it's hard to breathe now. Oh, I hate this. I'm so glad there are people that do shit like the Iditarod and the Barkley's Marathons and like these superhuman things, so I can watch them and enjoy them do it. Like, that's great. I want to watch this. I want to watch them do it. I never want to do this.
Beth, where do you think the guy who did 108 laps is from?
I'm going to say West Virginia.
Born in Wheeling.
Yeah, that it felt right.
Born in Wheeling, spent much of his childhood in Berea, Ohio.
Oh man, he 450 miles. God,
home of Baldwin Wallace, I believe.
There we go. Okay, folks, that's all I got for tonight. Anyone else have any opinions?
I got my rant.
We
go.
haven't even plugged our, stuff that's coming out.
Did we not do that? I feel like we did that.
The plugs.
We did plugs.
No, I'm talking about we're having our Sickos CBB bracket coming up.
Oh yes, yeah, we did talk about
yeah.
Also, we are shout out to Mace and Shippensburg. We're gonna have one for college football. We selected the 68 most Sickos games of the year. A lot of debating, a lot of reseeding, a lot of matchups. We have some fun for that coming. So that'll be coming to the timeline. Yep. And just, we'll get the brackets going and we'll go and get them going along with the game. So we got a first 4, we got a, 64, and then we're going to do the same thing with the Sickos CBB poll that we just closed out. And the number 1 seed, I don't know. I'm not going to give you the 1 seed.
No, don't tell me yet. Make a pony up the download.
Pony up the download. That's right. Don't forget the download, rate, and say that we're an awesome podcast, and go to all your AT&T stores and download the podcast there to make our stats look better.
Okay, cool. Arthur, you have a rant?
Yeah. I guess we can just close with this.
Okay.
So I just want to say, right, is the selection committee perfect? No. There's stuff you can quibble about here or there. Say like, oh, this team's too high, this team's too low, and like on the bubble, like, oh, maybe this team should have been in and this team should have, like, whatever. But you know what? Okay, you know what this NCAA basketball tournament selection committee didn't do? They didn't leave out an undefeated team, okay? I mean, maybe the bar is the floor, but they cleared it. If you miss the NCAA tournament, you have only yourself to blame. There was something in your control that you failed to do that puts your fate in the hands of the committee. I mean, if you were a team in a smaller conference, you needed to win your conference tournament. You didn't get it done. That's on you. If you're a team that was trying to get an at-large spot and you didn't get it, I guarantee there were games you played. There were things that happened that you could have done a better job with. You could have won. That's on you. Now, with all that being said, I am now boycotting the NCAA's corporate champions and partners in retaliation for them not selecting my team. Okay,
Oh,
Yeah.
like when
Right.
I want a spicy chicken sandwich, no more Wendy's. I'm going to Popeyes. Okay, Wendy's.
right.
You want to be the official burger
Yes.
of March Madness? You're the official burger of me not going there. Okay,
Okay.
I mean, the
Buick,
Popeyes
I don't
sandwich
care.
is better anyway, but okay.
Popeyes
Yeah.
is objectively superior.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we got that.
Buick. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to buy a Buick. I'm not going to lease a Buick. It doesn't matter how many. Like, you can
Not-
give me great financing terms.
Not even the
I'm not
all-new
doing
Buick Encore?
Absolutely not.
Is that a thing?
Nobody on this podcast is old enough to drive a Buick.
Great clips. Great
No.
clips. I'm not getting my hair cut at Great Clips.
Not
Okay.
doing it.
No, I'm going to.
More like mid clips.
I'm going to Sports Clips. Right.
Yeah.
You talk about Sports Clips.
Yeah.
Now there is a company that's actually involved with some cool sports stuff
Yes.
that happened today.
That's right.
Of course, I'm referring to their associate sponsorship of Denny Hamlin, who won an all-time classic NASCAR race today. Next up, Marriott Bonvoy. No, thank you. I already have
Oh, I have a
status at both
Bonvoy card.
IHG
Yeah, we
and
gotta
Hilton.
cancel it.
I don't need
No,
Marriott.
We are
I
taking a
don't
stand.
Voyage. Did I?
like the Bonvoy card. No.
We are taking a stand.
Intuit TurboTax. I refuse to pay money to file my taxes.
Sorry.
Next.
Duh.
Home Depot. Look, I was never a big Tony Stewart fan, and I also haven't been feeling College Game Day recently, so I'm already out on Home Depot.
All right.
We're
let's
going to
go
Lowe's?
We're going to Lowe's. I have a Lowe's card. Come on. Come on down.
Coca-Cola. Listen, it's not good for me. I'm just drinking water. That's
Right.
all I'm drinking.
Right.
And Dasani sucks, so
Yeah.
I'm out on Coca-Cola.
We're done. Get rid of all
And
that
last
Coca-Cola
but not
stuff.
least, Capital One. I am not paying my credit card bill.
That's right. Not going to do it. Definitely not.
So that's me taking a stand. And oh, by the way,
Yes.
I'm also boycotting the NIT. I'm opting out. I'm not doing it.
Man.
CBI man only.
Yeah.
CBI man only. Who are the sponsors of the CBI? Do we know?
Oh, let's see. CBI.
I think Roman.
Roman?
For
Yeah.
men.
Roman?
Oh,
Oh,
that rant
Okay.
is erasure of the Werner ladder.
wait, so
the official ladder
it's
of
the
the
Roman
NCAA
CBI?
tournament.
It's the Roman CBI?
I think Roman might have rebranded as RO.
Okay.
Okay, hold up
So-
though. If I type in CBI sponsors, I get the Confederation of British Industries first.
Oh boy.
So Roman is the sponsor of the CBI, and they can help you to prevent the premature confetti ejaculation at the A10.
I was expecting something so much nice, like something that roll off a tongue better. Like,
What did you want me to say? I mean, like, do you want me to do, like, you know, the premature confetti malfunction? I mean,
well,
4 confetti cannons.
I'm
four
gonna
confetti cannons.
I'm gonna say one of the sponsors of the CBI
Okay.
in this podcast. Also talking about Commish's confettiing. He gets us. That's one of the sponsors.
So it's sponsored by Roman, and then
He gets us.
Hmm.
And Barbasol. And Zoa energy drink. This is so horny. This is so horny.
that's the Rocks
Oh,
energy
that's
drink.
that's the Rocks energy drink.
The Rocks energy drinks, and
So horny.
Barbasol.
Yeah. That thing gets me turned like
That's a
Barbasol.
dude's rock.
I
Mm.
kind of
That's a
I need to
dude's
make
rock S list.
a cocktail out of the Rocks tequila and the Rocks energy drink.
I thought you were going to say Barbasol. I was really concerned.
That sounds like a one-way ticket to a rock-themed blackout, but I hope you have fun. Also, the Fire Hall birthday party I was at yesterday had whipped shots. I did not try them.
Oh,
Oh.
come on.
Wow.
Can I say one more thing?
Being
before we
demoted down to
close?
rookie.
I'm permanent
the
squatter,
CI
and I will keep that title forever. Thank you.
Shit, unelected.
Folks, the collegeinsider.com postseason tournament, more collectively known as the CIT, has said on their website that they will be releasing the bracket today, Sunday, March 17th, 2024. The bracket is still not out. Come on,
They have
guys.
4
Get together.
minutes.
4 minutes
You
Eastern
got
time.
4
We got 4 minutes to save the world with
Yeah.
the CIT bracket.
Alexa, play Justin Timberlake and Madonna.
Okay, kids. We're done. We'll see everyone on Tuesday, your Thursday, whatever it is. Good luck.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Happy hurling champs, Purdue. Happy Gaelic football champs, Notre Dame. That feels racist.